Plaintiff Melissa Richard is suing her former roommate for stolen property, pet relocation fees, and emotional distress. Melissa claims the defendant is a gang member who vandalized the walls of her home with racial slurs and symbols of hate. Defendant Stacy Turner claims Melissa is her former lover who physically assaulted Stacy while they were living together. She's countersuing for property damage and emotional distress.
Remain standing. The Honorable Judge Jeanine Pirro presiding. Please be seated.
All right. Melissa is suing her former roommate for stolen property, pet relocation fees, and emotional distress. Stacy is countersuing her former roommate for property damages and emotional distress. Melissa, state your case.
In October of 2008, I had been out of work for a couple months and was needing to take on a roommate. I met Stacy through a mutual friend, and we hit it off immediately as friends.
It was more than friends. We were having sex, and that's why I moved in. And the reason why she doesn't want that to be known is because her mom is against that, and she fears that she wouldn't have visitation with her
child. Do you have a lesbian relationship with the defendant?
Never, Your Honor. I've never been. Okay.
She's lying.
Are you straight?
Yes, I am.
Is she straight?
I'm pretty sure she had a relationship.
You straight?
I'm bisexual.
You're bisexual. Mm-hmm. All right. Because I'm not getting this straight myself. You having a relationship with her?
No, as a friend.
But she said, what's a friend? Are you having?
I've never ever had sex with a woman of any kind. No, no, never.
Okay.
That's all right. She is a member of a gang.
Oh my God.
I have proof of that, and I have. Let's see. I have her records right here.
And it says I'm in a gang?
Yes, it does.
What gang are you a member of?
Well, I'm not a part of a gang.
Why are you suing her?
I'm suing her because for filing a false restraining order against me. I'm suing her because I've been evicted out of my home since then, my home of 6 years. I'm suing her for emotional distress. I'm suing her for all the damaged property and stolen property. For 21 days, I was not allowed in my house.
Because of the restraining order. How long had you lived together before the defendant got a restraining order?
4 months.
So when you agreed to have her move in with you.
And her son.
How old's your son?
He is 16.
He's 16. And where was he living when you moved in with the plaintiff?
Well, originally my room that became my room was going to be his room. And then he moved out to the trailer. I moved into that room. The reason why he was kicked out of the home is because he stole a gun that belonged to her witness. And,
do you have a gun?
I have several guns, Your Honor.
He gave one to...
And you have permits for the guns?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did her son steal your gun?
Yes, ma'am.
How did he access your gun?
I had loaned my gun about a year previous to her.
To the plaintiff?
To the plaintiff,
okay.
correct.
You loan her your gun, and you have a permit for the gun?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It is registered.
It's illegal to loan a gun. It's not like, an umbrella.
Yeah.
When the gun was stolen from the person to whom you loaned it, did you call the police and say the gun has been stolen?
Immediately, and I informed them the premises that it was on and the conditions that she had the firearm.
Okay. And you didn't get into any trouble for loaning the gun to this woman here?
No, ma'am.
All right. Thank you very much. Sit down. Was your son arrested for stealing the gun? I've got more admissions here than you do in a jail. I mean, what?
Yes, he was.
No, he was arrested?
He was arrested.
What happened was he had brought his best friend over and the best friend's mother to meet me. And I needed to run to the store. Melissa was drunk. And so I went to the store. I was gone for 5 minutes. And I come back. There's cops in the driveway. She has beat up my son's best friend's mom. And it came out of the house waving the gun around, going to shoot the best friend's mom's boyfriend.
That's not true.
That is so true.
It's not true.
I have support. What is your proof of that?
I wasn't there. I was at the store.
That's called hearsay. If you weren't there, what makes you think that you can offer it to me as evidence? You weren't even there to tell me.
But the reason why my son stole it and how he knew where it was because she pulled it out in front of him and he knew where to go to steal it and he was scared for me.
All right, let's take it down, bitch. Stacy, your son steals a gun that's in her possession.
Because she beat up his best friend's mom.
No, I was assaulted and she was arrested. I wasn't. The woman was arrested.
Who is this woman who comes to your house?
Beating up. It was her son's friend's mother.
Got it.
They showed up at my house
to do what?
And I don't know.
To meet her.
I guess.
Okay. So what do you do?
So my daughter comes in and tells me that the woman is beating on her son out in the yard. And I go outside and she's beating her son with a baseball bat type stick thing. And so I jump in the middle of it and the woman starts hitting me with it.
Just call the cops.
We did call the police and they came and they arrested her.
What was it like living together, the two of you?
It was hell.
So throw her out.
I tried to, Your Honor. She agreed that she would start moving out. She packed her stuff up.
Yeah, I agreed I would move out.
And she packed her stuff up, and then she wasn't moving. So I served her a 72-hour notice.
Oh, you did?
And that's when she served me with a false restraining order.
What? You went and got a restraining order.
I did get a restraining order on her.
What did you allege in the restraining order?
Well, we were having sex, and she...
That's the basis for a restraining order?
No. You have to be in a relationship with somebody in order to get a restraining order.
Okay, she lied to get the restraining order.
No, I didn't lie. You're lying because you don't want your mom to know.
You're shaking your head. Who are you? Stand up. What's your name?
Christy Powers.
What is it?
Christy.
Christy?
She is absolutely crazy. I mean, she's either bipolar or something that makes her go up and down, because she would come out free.
It couldn't have been all of the people in and out of my house. Christy is a felon.
Felon?
Yes, I have it right here in a local magazine if you'd like to see it.
Is that right where I'm stated as a gang member?
I have that too, Your Honor. On the back page of there is Christy.
You should probably know why that is in there.
And she's also a pedophile, Your Honor.
I'm a what? You
How
would
did
go
the three
crazy.
of you ever stay in the same room without using that gun?
I would not even stay in
I couldn't stand her. I never wanted her in my house in the first place.
You couldn't stay in the room anyway because they're so dog
All right,
feces.
does everybody feel better? Christy, felony theft.
Yeah.
Felony theft, huh?
Because I bought some tires for somebody, and the tires, I guess, were bought illegally.
Whatever. You know,
Here's a guy who's really shocked he got arrested. All right, we've had enough laughs. Okay. I don't care if she's got a felony conviction.
I'm just saying it goes to her credibility of anything.
You know what? Can we just tone it down a little? You don't like each other. I get it. You are suing her for what?
I'm suing her for after I packed my stuff up. The reason why it sat there is I was getting a storage unit, to put the stuff into, and I had to arrange a ride to get the stuff out of there. Well, when I came back to the house, my stuff was totally spread out all over her floor, into her yard. Her dogs had defecated and urinated all over my property.
That's not true, Your Honor.
What kind of dogs do you have?
I have one pit bull and 2 labs.
Now, is she preparing to move out?
Your Honor, she had 21 days. She knew that she was going to have to leave after I got the restraining order lifted.
Do you have the restraining order?
The restraining order? Yeah, I do.
Let me see it. Thank you, Douglas.
The reason why I felt like I needed to get the restraining order was because...
Did you go for the restraining order after she gave you the 72-hour notice?
I got it before she gave me a 72-hour notice.
All right. Exhibited jealous behavior when people would stop by, making me feel uncomfortable, which accelerated one night. She was jealous of my dog. She slapped me because I put the dog between us. What is this about?
She slapped me.
Why?
Because I guess I had overridden her power control of her punishing the dog or whatever, and then I was playing with the dog, and she was drunk.
Slap her?
Your Honor, I've seen her knock a man out in one punch.
Oh my God.
One punch knocked him cold out because he allegedly sold her son drugs when we were up at Stanford.
You can knock out a man?
It went not a punch like swinging a punch.
If I was angry enough, I probably could.
Why would you hit a man?
Well,
he supposedly sold her son drugs.
She knows the whole story. You should ask her. She's telling it.
Well, you know what? I'm about done with the two of you because this is out of control.
Can I show you the pictures, Your Honor?
Of what?
Of what she did to my house, all of the swastikas.
Your Honor, I would like to make a point that I moved out of her home,
I have
and
pictures.
I have not lived there for 6 months.
What is this? What am I
She got
looking at?
evicted.
What she did to my house.
That's so wild.
Savage,
White
what's
power.
WP?
No.
White power?
I don't know what any of that is.
Swastika? This is the kind of stuff that actually poisons a society.
Your Honor,
this is
I
the
believe
kind
that
of
she did
stuff
it to herself.
She's lying.
that leads to
She is lying.
hate and violence and retaliation, community unrest.
Honor.
This is the seed
Your Honor.
of destruction.
Your
I didn't do that.
She thinks that she's a vampire. I swear
I don't care. I'm talking about
she's
hate.
lying. She's
Stop.
lying.
Let me get to the facts here. You leave because there's an order of protection or restraining order that she gets against you. You contest it. The order is lifted. Yes, no.
Yes, right here.
Since the order is lifted, that means that the
moved
court felt that there wasn't a basis for it.
I give
Now, the question that I have,
these reports.
when you moved out for 3 weeks, where did you go?
I stayed at my mother's and I stayed at Jeff's.
Did you see
And
the
I never came back there.
swastikas and the hate
No,
messages?
and I didn't.
They were not there
No.
when you brought your stuff out.
No, they weren't.
You move your stuff out, but you're suing her for damage to your property.
Yeah, that she let her
So
dogs.
you're saying that some of your property was still in the house when she came back?
She had been gone for 3 weeks.
I know that.
And in that 3 weeks, I was moving what I had left that wasn't destroyed by her.
whom? If she
her
wasn't in
dogs.
the house, who could you? The dogs.
The dogs.
My dogs were with me.
Oh,
My dogs were with me.
The dogs should be defendants here. All right, Melissa, you are suing for what?
For relocation. I've been evicted because of all of this.
Oh, that's a shock. Yeah.
Everything I owned was stolen or damaged.
How do you
Everything.
know she stole it? Just like, how do
If
I
you
know?
read the witness statements, my neighbors were calling me, telling me that they're hauling out my appliances.
All right, so your antique toy box, the fish tank, the stethoscope, and blood pressure.
And blood pressure
Are you-
cuff. I work in the medical field.
Well, get a job.
I have a job now. I've had it.
You do?
Yeah, I've had it since January.
Are you calm?
I'm trying to be calm.
You need to be calm.
I'm very upset, Your Honor. My world was turned upside down.
Everybody's world gets turned upside down. You take your blows, you dust yourself off, and you try to be a better person. That's what life is all about. You can't come up with clenched fists. You know, if you always have a clenched fist, you can't shake anybody's hand.
You're right.
All right? You guys are setting it up for hate and violence and lunacy. All right? Now, is the eviction based upon the damage to the house, or is the eviction based upon non-payment of rent?
It's based on all different things. It's based on non-payment of rent.
All right. Now, during Melissa's absence, we witnessed the destruction of household goods of Melissa's in the form of furniture being thrown out of the house and broken. Once Melissa was allowed back into the house, the damage inflicted by Stacy was extensive. There was filthy writing on most surfaces, and doors and jambs had been kicked out. During the months Melissa wasn't allowed in her home, the water had been shut off, so Stacy and her friends had used plastic bags for toilets.
What? What the? No.
Did you turn the water off?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
When?
I turned it off immediately.
But she left the lights on.
So
I tried to turn it off.
You just went, what? Then she did turn the water off, so then the toilets weren't working and somebody was pooping in bags.
No. If you put water in a toilet, it flushes. It does. Yeah. You fill out the back of the tank and you flush it.
If you fill
So
it
it
up.
just kept working.
So
Where'd
I buy
you get
water.
the water from?
The store.
No, they were
Oh,
stealing
you
it
went
from my
out and bought
neighbors.
$10 worth of water to flush the toilet?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. But, Your Honor, I have pictures of the damage that was done to my property also.
By her dog.
By her dogs.
My dogs were
the
gone
way
with
my
me,
stuff
Your
was
Honor.
left.
When
The
you left,
condition it
where
was
were
left
your
in.
dogs?
At my mother's house.
The condition that my house or my stuff was left
What
in.
is this? What am I looking at, Stacy? That's
there's
a dirty
pillow
pillow.
that her dog totally.
Okay, I'll give you $20 for the pillow. All right.
It's
What
just
is
the
this?
condition of my stuff. How when I came into the home, what I came into, I had packed my stuff, and when I came back, all my boxes were ripped up, and there was.
What are you saying? That the dogs ripped open the box?
I'm
She's
saying that
not
she
even
probably,
there.
No, she was there.
Defendant Stacy Turner claims she and the plaintiff had an intimate relationship. However, the plaintiff denies ever being in a relationship with Stacy and is suing for property damages.
The issue is whether or not the defendant exercised unauthorized control over your property and whether or not you, Stacy, are liable for the fair market value or the damage to the plaintiff's property. Mm-hmm. And the counterclaim is that you negligently or intentionally allowed your dogs to damage her property. And you're also suing each other, I believe, for intentional infliction of emotional distress. The only one who has a cause of action for intentional infliction of emotional distress is me against you. All right? Neither of you get that. Okay? Now, I believe, Melissa, that some of the property, your property, was damaged and your walls were vandalized. There's no question about it. As a result, you were evicted. You were also evicted because you weren't paying the rent. Now, you think that she should be liable because her dogs ruined your stuff. Mm-hmm. There's no way, Stacy. There is no way. I'm going to give you $20 for a pillow. All right. The plaintiff is saying that her property was damaged. She has supported that with evidence by a neighbor and I believe by her witness as well. Now, At the end of the day, you are suing for pet relocation fees of $500 for each pet.
Yes.
Why should she have to pay pet relocation fees?
Because I would be living in my same house had she not done all this to me.
I'll tell you why I'm not going to award you that money. You didn't pay the rent. So you cannot blame her for that. As far as I'm concerned, I am going to award the plaintiff $1,000 because I assume that what you left behind was probably $1,000 worth of items because you couldn't possibly have taken everything. All right? So ordered.
Thank you.
This whole situation caused me to have a miscarriage. I had a miscarriage last Friday because of the stress that I've been under.
Maybe if you weren't smoking crack, you wouldn't have had a miscarriage.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Whoa, see what I'm saying? Wow.